Happy Friday, guys. Hope you guys are having a great week of sales. For me, I'm here picking up my children from school. And again, just one of the many benefits of selling from a remote location, over the telephone, online. You can't, you can't, you can't get me to go out there and knock on doors like I did many years ago. But I wanted to get on here and give you guys some knowledge you won't get in college. And that's about how to buy leads. A lot of you guys are new to the funeral insurance business, final expense, life insurance. You're new to it. And especially, there's a lot of new people that are getting on the telephones to either set up appointments or attempt to sell insurance over the telephone. Tons of people doing this now. And for me, it puts a big smile on my face because for many, many years, I've been coming on this platform talking about the many benefits of selling over the phone. But with having so many more people on the telephones like never before, working remotely on the telephones, it's a good thing, but also a bad thing because it also creates more complaints for insurance companies. And what am I talking about? Complaints in terms of TCPA and do not call violations. Those type of complaints. And why is that? Because a lot of insurance agents, when they're buying leads, they really don't know what to look for in terms of what makes a lead compliant and what doesn't. And that's costing agents not only time and money, but big time lawsuits. They're being threatened with class action lawsuits. And can you imagine that? When a class action happens, it gives an opportunity for a lot of people to go ahead and file their grievances as well against you because of what? Cold calling. It's a nightmare. So how do you get around buying leads when you're not doing your own marketing yourself because you don't have the resources, you don't have the budget? Now what? What do you do? And you're out there buying leads from marketing firms like myself and many other out there as well. But what to look for? Well, first of all, we got to establish some basic rules. And the first step is that we cannot call anybody to either set up an appointment or to solicit or sell an insurance policy over the telephone unless the person that we're dialing gave us consent in a written form, electronic form, verbal form, period, consent of some form. And that consent typically happens when you're running an advertisement and the person sees the advertisement, and at that point in time, they call in, and at the precise moment that they call in, it creates a timestamp. We get the IP address, and from that point on, you have 90 days where you have permission to call between the hours of 8 to 9 p.m. in their respective time zones to call them about final expense insurance. So first of all, as an agent that you're buying leads, you need to identify the date that the lead was originated. You've got to identify the type of advertisement that was used, because not only can you get in trouble for TCPA and DNC violations, but also you can get in trouble for using marketing that uses gimmicks. Not too long ago, I was talking about a company that was using government seals, to
promote final expense, having people think it was some form of government program. So the amount of people that were calling in was through the roof, but it was a gimmick. You want to be careful about that. But once you establish the date that the lead was originated, remember, you have 90 days permission. And I'll post a video here in the comment section that talks about that. So again, when you're buying leads, you got to make sure that the marketing is not gimmicky and it's legitimate. Unfortunately, when you're buying live transfers, the risk with live transfers comes in the way that the call center that is selling you that live transfer is going to tell you that the marketing is compliant for TCPA in DNC, and that all the marketing or the data that they're calling on is being generated from landing pages, so on and so forth. So the people showed an interest in final expense in one point at some time. Now, the problem is that those call centers, when they buy these lists, yes, those people called in on a website, but those leads or that data is older than 90 days. And these people are dialing on thousands of phone numbers. And then once they get somebody that has an interest into final expense, regardless of the time that it's been after 90 days, then they transfer that lead to you. That function right there is where the risk comes in. Because if their system does not check the do not call registry at the federal level, national level, then you can be in trouble for making that call or having somebody else do that call for you. Think about that. So if that call center that's selling you that live transfer, okay, transfers you a caller and that person's on the do not call registry, you're in trouble. And the marketing firm that sent you that transfer, they're going to tell you that they checked their system and on their system, it was clean. And that's the problem. A lot of these marketing firms don't have their SANS number. And because of that reason, they're using subscription-based mechanisms that check for DNC. And some of those subscription-based systems don't check for federal, national, or they check for national, but they don't check for state-specific. And now you're in a mess. So imagine if you're, these people are going through several thousand numbers on your behalf, representing your company as Johnny Carpenter Insurance, and they're dialing thousands of numbers, and they're doing this, and let's say 1 to 5% of all those numbers that they're dialing at any given time throughout the day are on the National Do Not Call Registry. Now what? Well, now you're in trouble, because every one of those calls that goes against the Do Not Call Registry is a major violation. And last, you need to be very careful that if they're transferring you leads from so-called data, that if you are buying fresh leads, that the opt-in is correct. Unfortunately, there's a lot of call centers that are fabricating opt-in data prior to transferring you the call. So they cold call people, and as they have the person that's somewhat interested, they opt in on their behalf using VPNs, and then they transfer the call. And now here you are sitting there with the do not call violation, TCPA violation, and now, a major problem because you called them so many times. So ladies and gentlemen, ignorance is not an excuse when it comes to compliance. So do your research on TCPA, DNC violations, and ask those extra questions when you're buying leads. My thinking is pay a little extra to buy quality inbound leads than risk being sued and having to come out thousands, if not millions. Be safe. Peace.